We are live with the community at the Microsoft Power Platform Community Call. This is September 2024. I am live in Las Vegas with Shane Young at the Power Platform Conference. So we are excited to see everyone here. We're excited to see everyone online. We're excited for you to all see the newest, latest, and greatest that is going to be announced from Microsoft today. It is going to be a great time. But first, we've got an amazing community call in store for you. My name is David Warren Inquisitive, and with me is the one and only Mr. Shane Young. Shane, how are you?
I am lovely. I'm really enjoying Vegas, right? We were just lamenting my awesome $25 breakfast. It was, a biscuits. So yeah, I'm having a great time. I can't wait to talk about all the stuff we've got this week. And right, we got the keynote here a little bit later today. So hopefully we'll see some new announcements from Microsoft.
Yeah, exactly. It's an exciting day. But first, we are going to have some amazing and exciting things on this community call. We're going to talk about some community resources, community samples, Power Platform news and events. We're going to have our picture time together, and then we're going to have three amazing presenters of the day. Mary is here. She's going to talk about hiring Copilot for your sales team. It doesn't even cost that much. Cristian's here. He's going to talk about Copilot Studio Assistant and proactive messaging. And then Angeliki's going to round it out with sentence casing and Power Automate versus Power Pages. So lots of amazing stuff to look forward to today. Now, you've got some resources that are available to each and every one of you. So if you've been joining the calls for a while, you're familiar with these. But if you're brand new, please learn more about them. We've got our Microsoft Community Learning Video YouTube channel. We've got our LinkedIn group for discussions and updates. This is an opportunity to collaborate with other members of the community within LinkedIn. We've got our open source utilities that you can take advantage of. And of course, we've got our sample galleries. These are Power Platform samples, Power Platform prompts, which we'll hear a little bit more about at the recognition program. But we also know that we have a wide open ecosystem. So there are SharePoint samples and many other samples as well. Now, you only need to remember one URL to get access to all this goodness, and that is aka.ms/community/home. Take advantage of that, get involved, and let's talk about some more of them. All right, so we mentioned that community YouTube. Wow, we're going too fast today. Wow, things are just happening. Let's go back here.
You just don't have your regular setup and you're all lost.
I don't. I know. I've got one monitor instead of 5, and I don't know what's going on. Things are just taking over. My goodness. We'll make it, though. We'll make it. So the Microsoft Community Learning Channel, for those that are new, again, this is our community channel. You may have remembered it as the Microsoft 365 Power Platform community. It is now Microsoft Community Learning to be more expansive and inclusive for other technologies that we'll be including very, very soon. So go subscribe to it, mark to be alerted as soon as new videos drop, because we do have new videos coming out all the time. All these community calls are on this video. You can get access to it at ak.ms/community/YouTube. And as you're watching today, you may be thinking, you know what? I would love to request to present. Well, guess what? We would love you to request to present. And it's absolutely easy and free and welcoming. If you go to ak.ms/community/request/demo, everyone is welcome. I don't think you need to overthink it either. You may be thinking, well, I've got stuff that I think is really cool, but guess what? Everybody's already seen it. Shane, do you think everybody's already seen everything?
Everything? Probably not.
I agree, right? And even if they've seen it, they may see it differently with how you're going to present it. So don't overthink it. It can be absolutely a feature, a technique, a demo, a pattern, something that you find useful. I promise you, we have new ones coming into the community each and every single day. They will find value in it. And if you've never presented, it's okay. Let us know. We'll buddy you up with a member of the community, an MVP, a member from Microsoft, and you can present together. So if you've never presented, don't let that stop you as well. We absolutely welcome each and every one of you. Now let's talk about some samples and badges. This week, Kate is out, but we've got a couple new samples to take a look at. We've got an alt text generator from Gomo, which is very, very cool. It analyzes the video, or the image, I should say, and gives you a nice alt text, because sometimes it can be hard to come up with something that is accessibility friendly. So that's a very, very cool thing. Then we've got reusable child flow for array operations from Manish. Again, these samples are a way that you can get involved and provide and give back to the community. We've got hundreds, over 2,000 of them, in fact. And so please take advantage of learning how to use from them, or learn how to use the technology from them, but also give back to the community. You can update and work with other members of the community to do that. And if you're thinking, I don't even, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, right? The hotel delay getting us there. But I just want to mention, I get on the samples and stuff, like the other really great thing about doing stuff like that, like building one to give back with, is you learn a lot more when you're trying to make sure that, hey, this thing is reusable by other people. It will work for other people. It will make sense for other people. And you'll get feedback from those other people as they use it. Like, it's really a great way, like, making something that works for you is one step, but making something that works and you can hand it to other people to work, like, it just takes your knowledge to another level. So if you're the type that doesn't care about giving back to community, boo on you, but then just think of it as a way to help yourself get better, and then you'll be all about it. It's fine too.
Yeah, 100%. And you can collaborate with other people. If someone's already created a sample and you can find a way to improve it and make it better, work together on that. It's a great collaborative opportunity. And so if you're thinking, well, I don't even know how to do that. Where are these things hosted? How do I contribute? Sharing is Caring is a program that we have started to provide hands-on guidance. So what does that mean? It means that we're going to join in a live Teams call together. It's not recorded, so it's a safe space, because we've all been there where we're learning how to do new things and we're like, I have a question, but I'm afraid to ask it because should I already know it? Does everybody else on the call already know it? No one else has asked it, so maybe everybody knows it. Well, I guarantee you, everybody's thinking the same thing. So we don't record the calls. You feel free to ask any and all questions. They are live, they are hands-on, they are safe space. We've got one coming up at the end of the month, September 30th, on how to contribute via GitHub to our community. We're going to do a pull request, and if you don't know what a pull request is, that's okay too. It's your gateway to contributing to the community. So come in, learn together, and it'll be a great time. It is absolutely free of charge. Hugo, Bernie, and I will be there to lead you all on this endeavor, and I guarantee you will be excited and leave it. And guess what? It's a contribution by joining the call. We're going to make an actual GitHub contribution. So when you do that contribution, what else do you get? You get to be part of the recognition program. Now, this is a program that is powered by Credly, that same Credly that gives out those badges that you used to get for certifications. We still got them in the community, and they are absolutely free. They are accredited. You can associate them to your LinkedIn profile. You can put them on your blog. You can put them on your Twitter account. Show them to your managers. Share them with your clients. Why? They actually show you are taking an extra step. You are doing more than the other person to make sure that your manager and your clients and your bosses are well taken care of. And it is that time of the year. So we've got some new badges coming out for Promptimber are out. We've seen them in the wild. Promptober is just around the corner. Prompt Pro. These are great ways for you to get involved if you're going to contribute to those Copilot repos and those Power Platform prompt repos, which we'll even see more about in a minute. So please don't hesitate to take advantage of this. Go sign up, ak.ms/community/recognition. All we need you to do is opt in. It's absolutely free. We cover all the charges. And so you don't have to worry about a thing. All you got to do is contribute and get recognized. All right, let's move into our shows and events section. We've got our TechCon coming up, Dallas in November. So take advantage of that. That's not all. Of course, we're at the Microsoft Power Platform Conference now, so that will be over by the end of the week. But we have so many other upcoming events in the community that are able to be found at ak.ms/community days all around the world. We try to showcase as many as we can here, but you can absolutely go find more at ak.ms/community days. Valuable efforts are put into these things. Go attend them. Some of them are virtual, some of them are in person, some of them are hybrid, but go check them out. If it's in your local area, or if it is hybrid or virtual, go support them, go attend them, go speak at them. I guarantee you they take a lot of effort, and they are very appreciative when folks get involved. So don't hesitate to go check those out. Now let's move over to our news desk. That was actually a real sound effect. We're going to get some notes from the field from Mr. Shane Young right now.
All right, real quick here. These are just a couple of the things that I want to remind everyone, right? The first one there, don't be overzealous with experimental features in production, right? We're seeing lots of new features. Microsoft is always rolling out what cool things they have, with the Power Platform to keep us excited. Those are awesome, but just a reminder, like, if something is still marked as experimental, let's not put that in production, right? I know it's exciting. You really want to play with that thing, but please don't, right? And be cautious. Now, but it doesn't mean ignore all the experimental features, right? I do want to make sure that you guys continue to keep learning about the new features and tools, right? Cough, cough, AI, make sure that we're learning and growing. We know that, yes, we all love Power Apps or Power Automate or Power BI, whatever the tools that brought you here, but you've got to continue to learn the various tools, right? Like Power Pages, or right now I'm really doubling down on learning Copilot Studio, like there's all of this great stuff that continues to evolve. And I just want to make sure that while I'm telling you, don't be putting this experimental stuff in production, you are still experimenting with it so you're ready for it when it does show up. And then last but not least, this is a little bit different, but yesterday at the conference, I did an all-day workshop on like building an app end to end. And one of the things that I remind them throughout the process was when you're building apps, you want to try to reduce the cognitive load on people, right? What does that mean? Now, that's like the one fancy word that Shane knows. No, what that means is you want to make it so that when they're thinking and working with your app, that they don't have to really think to make decisions. The example I always use is that we will, if you have a delete button, right? So you could just delete the thing. That's bad. You could have the delete button do a pop-up that says yes or no. That's mediocre. Or you do a pop-up that says something like, hey, are you sure you want to delete the record for Buddy? And then you say, yes, delete with a nice red button, and then blue, no, go back, right? And so the difference there is like, when you look at that screen, you immediately know that, hey, if I click that red button, yes, I'm deleting this thing, and you feel very confident. So you don't have to think about what the buttons do. Too often in those cases, we see an okay and a cancel. And you're like, well, what does that mean? Like, does okay mean okay, go back, or okay, delete? Like, what I mean? And they can get to the right answer, but it takes seconds of their brain. They will like your apps a lot better if you make them not have to use their brain so much to, interact with simple dialogue like that. So that was the thing I want to do. David, I know you said that you guys also talked about cognitive load yesterday. Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, no, 100%. We had a whole session on UX around Power Platform and really, kind of breaking the mold in terms of understanding things like various laws, principles, and practices around that exact thing. Cognitive load was one big one. We used an example for that had, as you say, the buttons. I was using a filter on AT&T because iPhones just came out, right? So I was looking to order a new one, and the filtering said the first button, instead of saying submit, it said close and apply, and then the second button was cancel. And then so you see close, and you kind of see the apply, then you go to the second button and you see cancel, and then you go, well, wait, isn't that supposed to be the okay? Or wait, what was close for? If that was cancel, what was? So you're literally, like you said, it's only seconds, but you're literally requiring the user to sit there and focus and go, what is going on here? And then they figure it out, maybe, if they haven't abandoned it by then.
There you go. So anyway, those are my notes for the field. So yeah, go forth and take a nap with your dog in the middle of the floor if you get a chance.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thanks, Shane. Okay, so we've got some news and learning opportunities. We've got the new Power Apps Pulse video series. We've also got Copilot, using Copilot to quickly filter, sort, and search Canvas app galleries with SharePoint lists. Pretty cool. General availability for some things within Dataverse. And then, of course, we've got our low-code plugins, preview documentation, and our Create a Machine Ordering app with Power Apps Learn module. We'll get these URLs into the chat here momentarily and make sure that they are part of the show notes. April's usually here to cover this, but she's literally on a plane right now heading into Vegas. So we can't wait to see her, and we'll get those URLs into the show notes momentarily. But what time is it? I don't know if that sounded like a camera. It did not, right? Maybe there. Let's get those fantastic faces ready, turn those cameras on, and we will change over to together mode if Teams will cooperate. It looks like it's going to. So let me turn my camera on. I see a few there. Excellent. Looking great to see everybody. Thank you all for attending. All right. I see Angeliki. Excellent. Looking good, everybody. I see Vesa is setting the example. Ooh, yeah, awesome. Okay. Let me also come over and start up Camtasia. So we will get that going. Go. Come on. You can do it.
You gotta be faster. My arm's getting tired. I'm not used to this much exercise.
I know. I said. I'll tell you. Okay. Let's go. The countdown. 3, 2, 1. Woo! Looking great. Excellent. Everybody looks wonderful. Thank you all so much for attending. This is wonderful. Love the smiles, love the waves. Looking great. Okay, let's get that moved off the screen and get back to our regularly scheduled program. So we have three amazing and fantastic presenters here for us today. Mary is going to kick it off on hiring Copilot for your sales team. I want to learn more. Mary, I think you're with us. Take it away.
I am. Hello. Thank you so much. Let me go ahead and attempt to share my screen. I think this is always the challenge of like who has real tech skills is navigating between screens here. But super excited to be here today and share with you guys what I will call kind of hire Copilot for your sales team. Now, I'm not insinuating that Copilot should take over your sales team, but let's take a look how it could be a great addition. All right, if I don't choke here first. All right, so things that we're going to cover today is we're going to take a look at the sales process overview, just kind of talk about what it looks like for a typical sales team and kind of relevant why Copilot or Power Platform or Power Automate could help your sales team. We'll take a look at one of my favorite new functionalities, the custom chat GPT prompt. And then, of course, what is a true presentation without a quick demo? So we'll take a look at that as well. And I'm going to fly through things so that we get through everything in 10 minutes. Quick overview about me. You can go ahead and scan the QR code if you're not already connected with me on LinkedIn. I sure would love to be part of your network. My name is Mary Myers, and I'm absolutely obsessed with maximizing dynamics or really anything with the Power Platform. I have been in this space since 2018, and I like to say that I'm by the people, for the people. I really got started in a user group forum, got into Power Platform in a day, and it absolutely changed my life. And not only do I absolutely love building solutions for customers, but one thing I'm super passionate about is sharing this knowledge with others. So I would love to connect with everyone. Okay, enough about me. Moving on to more exciting things. All right, so this is what I would say, is a typical sales process. Now, I've been in sales before. I was in, tech. I've held many different roles. And even now, right, I'm a small business owner, which means I wear all the hats and I have to do all the things, including, being in sales. So this is something I use in my own company as well. So typically when we're looking at a lead, right, and at the end of the day, as a company, we need sales to come in. That process typically starts with a lead. What's really common in today is to have these leads coming from online, and that is what we're looking at here in our top left-hand side with our kind of web incoming. Now there's a bunch of different ways that we take those leads in, but basically that lead comes in, and then our team is tasked to go ahead and take a look at that lead, research it, and identify, is this worth our time or not, right? Like we have to qualify that lead, and that's often kind of an arbitrary process, right? Like what I consider a qualified lead, Shane or David may not consider like a same qualified lead. And so I think that consistency coming through can sometimes suffer as a result. The next thing that we have to do is we then have to make sure that we capture that lead in our CRM. And I'm sure that all 301 people on this call here are super, super diligent in their everyday components of capturing everything they need to in a CRM. If that's part of their job, that's everyone's favorite thing to do, right? Is to make sure we capture all of our details in CRM. And then, if we've decided that it was a good lead, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk with that customer, get on a sales call with them. We're going to wait for their decision. And then if we're really lucky, we're going to go ahead and actually earn some money off of that, right? We're going to win that deal after they've decided yes. So that's a lot of words. That's our typical sales process, right? And that's just if we have one lead. But really, the whole goal of things is to make our lead process, right? We don't want one, we want many leads. So then that takes that already kind of complex, or maybe not complex, but just sometimes manual and time-consuming process, and really exponentially, takes the time and really makes it chaos here, right? That's what we're looking at on this screen. And that's what kind of represents. If we have a bunch of leads coming in, we still just have one person maybe, right? Or in my team, we just have one person that's going to qualify those sales teams. But it doesn't mean that you necessarily are increasing the number of headcount that you have in your sales team just because your leads increase, right? But you're still going to have to research and qualify those number of leads. You're going to have to get all of those entered into your CRM system, right? Speak with all those customers and just kind of keep going on through that process. So it takes it, and it's just a lot more time consuming. And at the end of the day, that's going to really affect sometimes the number of leads that you're actually able to turn into sales. In the US market, at least, like, we're super impatient. And the quickest way to win a lead is efficiency and being super quick to respond, right? That's one of the things that I really look for in my company when I'm working with other companies, and also like what I like to provide for my customers. So that's always top of mind for me. What we can do, though, right, is we can add the Power Platform. And of course, life is better. That's what we already know. And really what we're going to take a look at here is how we can use a custom GPT prompt to create, to modify that research and qualification, right? So let's use Copilot to qualify the lead. Let's automate our incoming lead process. Let's use Copilot to qualify that lead. Let's automatically get that entered into our CRM so that we're just getting to the part where we're talking to the customer and getting to that decision point, right? So we're eliminating a lot of the different steps here. Sound like a good plan? All right, let's jump into it. And so one of the things that I really want to take a look at here for the Power Platform is custom prompts in AI Builder. Go ahead. I would love to just see like a reaction. Give me a thumbs up or like a heart if you've used custom prompts in AI Builder yet. No. Okay. I see some people coming through. If you haven't checked them out, they're super easy. Again, I'll show you where they're at, but basically you're going to create a prompt in this top box here. And it's going to just be like if you're using Copilot or anything else, just a typical prompt. And then you can actually automate this process. This is saying, hey, I want to take this prompt and repeat it over and over and over again. So for me, what I'll show you a demonstration of is how I have a sales prompt and saying, hey, go ahead and qualify. Now, over on the right-hand side here, what we'll see is, I don't think I have a pointer, so you guys are just going to have to follow my navigation for now. On the right-hand side under prompt settings, we see where it says input and data and these different components. So I'm just going to jump to my demo because I see that we're running late or kind of quick on time. Now, what I'm going to do, I've got 3 minutes. I'm going to go super quickly. This is the form, right? It's just a Microsoft form. And basically this is simulating where data intake is coming from. I love using Microsoft Forms because we can use it from so many different places, but you can use anything, right? And then what happens is I'll show you my flow. We'll kind of cheat here. I have this flow that is set up to look at whatever response is submitted. And then I have this create GPT prompt here. So what I can do is I can actually edit this. When I edit this, this is going to show you that same screen that whenever it loads here, love live demos. When this screen loads, what it's going to show is where it's showing that picture in the PowerPoint of what that prompt looks like. This is here. Ta-da, it's like right on time. This is me filling out that prompt. I just entered this in here, right? Act as a salesperson and evaluate the customer needs. Customer needs. This is an input. That Microsoft form allows me to essentially dynamically control what somebody's putting in there. So what they're telling me they're needing, I'm saying, hey, take what they're telling me that they need and compare that to what the services are that we offer. That's all this flow is. And then I'm saying, hey, why don't you also go ahead and rank that flow? So therefore, we're putting some more structure into that. Before, where we had like maybe I qualified something as a super hot lead and Shane qualified it as like maybe not that important, right? So it's kind of systemizing that. And then I have had this going for quite some time. And so I used to tell it to also give it to me in a JSON response. But what was so exciting actually when I looked at this to get ready for this, I saw that we now have different output options. So I can actually modify and tell it what JSON prompt I want, or like what JSON response I want it to give me, which is super important when we want to use it in Power Automate, right? Because I'm passing the data from this through and I need it to be consistent. So let me just kind of scroll in and scoop down here really quick, right? So this is just taking the output of that. Then I parse this out, right? And that's why we need to know what that JSON structure is so that I can have a consistent parse. Otherwise, this flow would, fault if it gave us a property that we didn't have. All I'm doing here in this is just a switch statement, and I'm taking a look at that validation score where I said, hey, what's that customer rating? And then I'm setting a number, and I'll show you why in a second. But the first thing that I do is I just have this add a new lead into my CRM. And so I'm capturing information from that form and then also from what ChatGPT or what the Copilot said for me to do. And then so this condition right here says that basically if we decided if that customer rating said that it was hot, that it would go ahead and give me a Teams notification as well. So I ran this flow, and let me go back just 2 seconds. And then I'll call it quits here, but just so that you can see kind of how this looked. So we ran this flow. It got the response details, which I'm sure many of us are used to. Then I had this prompt, and it went ahead and read this out. If I read this show outputs, you can see here, right? These are the different outputs. The customer rating was 4, which meant that that was like a hot lead. And so because it was that, right, it went ahead and set here for 4, which meant that it was a hot lead, 4 and 5 or that. It added this new one. I always use Taylor Swift because I'm obsessed. So she was the person that I put in my lead here. We can see that it adds in here some different stuff. I'll show you that output in a second. And so then here, right, I just have this information that we put in. And then under details, I have the description. I didn't have to enter any of that in. And then I also had a Teams notification. So that's a great way that I think that you can use Copilot and Power Automate to help your sales team get by easier. So with that, I will hand it off to the next amazing presenter. Thanks so much.
Mary, awesome. Really, really cool stuff. Thank you. I love, how you're using all that. I think there's a guy named Shane I know that told me AI is not going to take your job. Someone who knows how to use AI is going to take your job, right? I think this is a good example of that, maybe. And by the way, when you integrate Taylor Swift, I think like if somebody gives you a low score, you should have like some sort of shake it off feature or something.
I like it. I like it. It could be like a sentiment response. So yeah.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
much.
Awesome. Yeah, hate is gonna hate, right? Yeah, exactly. All right, let's move on to Cristian on Copilot Studio Assistant and proactive messages. Cristian, you want to take it away?
Okay, thank you, David. Just let me share my screen. Okay, let me know when you.
Yep. Just throw that in presentation mode. You are on your way.
Okay, here I go. Right. Can you hear me well?
Yep, sounds great.
Okay. Well, my name is Cristian. I'm a Microsoft 365 architect, and I work right now like a digital workplace transformation lead at Insud Pharma. It's a big pharmaceutical company here in Spain and all around the world. If you want to see more about my work, you can find me on LinkedIn. So I don't want to get bored you with the presentation, so I will go to the main point. What I want to show you today is the thing that we can use Copilot Studio to send proactive messages to users. And I want to show you how we can do that. I will focus mainly on Power Automate and Copilot Studio for the demo. What we need to do, or what we need to do this, we will have a published Copilot on Teams. We will create that with Copilot Studio. It's a really simple Copilot. What we will need, it's a Power Automate workflow too. And what we will do with that Power Automate workflow is make some logics, and we will send the proactive messages to the user. We will use adaptive cards, a bit of magic of that with adaptive cards in Teams, and of course some SharePoint stuff. It's always SharePoint. We love SharePoint, and we have to use it. So how can we do this? I will stop the PowerPoint and I will go to my virtual machine. You still can see the screen, right? You can see the.
Yep. Looks great.
Yeah. So what I have here, it's a list. I have a list, an expenses list with some simple columns here. And I have the workflow that I have created here, and I have a demo Copilot here with some simple topics. One of the topics is one of the topics, the custom topics that I have created is really simple. If you want to send a new recipe, you can ask the Copilot, and it will send you an adaptive card to tell you, okay, so if you want to put a new expense report, you can do it right here. So this Copilot has the Teams channel enabled. Okay, so it's really simple. You can go here on the configuration. You can edit that Teams bot details, and you have to put that Copilot available on Teams, right? To test it, you can open the Copilot in Teams, and it will suggest you to open the Teams. I have it already opened here, and we can see that Copilot is expenses tracker, right? We can ask that Copilot, hey, I want to create a new expense, and I hope it will answer with the card, the simple card that I have here. And it says, okay, if you want to add a new expense, just go to this link and add your thing here. Okay, I have that list already open here. It will open the list, and here you can add your new expense report. This is a test expense for the demo, right? I can put here a date. Nothing too important. The category, let's say here, I want to get my money, right? And we have to add an image. The image, I will add whatever. It should be the expenses report, but I will add that image for the sake of the demo, right? So I have the new item. Right now, what I have done here is that workflow that I have created, it's integrated with this list, and on behind of that that list, it should start the workflow here. It's a really simple workflow. It has a trigger that starts when a new item is created or an item is edited. And I have here a switch that looks about the content approval based on this list. You can see here I have a column that says if the item is, the expenses is approved or it's pending, or even if it's rejected. So when the expense is on pending status, it will do some things here. And if it's approved or rejected, it will send a simple message to Teams, right? So when the expenses is on pending, I have here a notification message for the user. I will send him a notification message. Later, I will go to have the user's manager details, and I will get that info, and I will send to that manager a more complex adaptive card here with the expenses information, so he can approve or reject that expenses later. And in this adaptive card here, I have to wait for a response from the manager to see if he has approved or rejected that expenses, and then I will get that response. It's a really simple response with the action that if he has approved or rejected and a comment, and then with that, if it's approved, I get that information and I will approve that item on SharePoint. And if it's rejected, I will do the same with the rejected status, and I will leave that comment, the rejection comment, in that item, right? So let's see if the demo gods are with me. Yeah. The workflow is running right now because I have sent a new expense report and it's waiting for the approval, right? So my manager right now, it's Alex. I want to switch to Alex in Teams so we can see that. Okay, so you can see that the expenses tracker just sent me that expense report. It has the details that I have put on that expense, and I have two options here. I can approve or even I can reject, and if I want, I can leave a comment. It's too much money. Okay, so I will send that response, and if we go to the workflow, we can see that it has ended, right? So it got the exact response that I gave him, and it rejected the item. If we go to the list, we can see that the item was pending and now is rejected, right? This was the item that I inserted and now is rejected. With all of that, I go to the second part of the workflow. It should now go for a new execution because that item had an edit event on it. So it will run again, and I hope it will do. Let's see. It's Power Automate. We have to wait. Yeah. No. Is this one? Nope. Nope. It's still waiting for that. That execution. Come on. Well, it's not running, but you get the idea. The idea is that the user will receive a response where you can see that, hey, your manager canceled or rejected your expenses. I have some tests that I've made yesterday here, and you can see that you will receive those notifications here, right? So what I have used for this workflow, the workflow is the most important part here. What I have used is this nice action here that we have in Power Automate, right? It's called, you can find it here. You can say Teams, and you will see it right here. You have two options. You can post an adaptive card and wait for the response, or you can post just an adaptive card, simple adaptive card, and that's it. And the options that this action has is this one. You can, when you configure this action, you have an option here that says post as, and you can use the Copilot Studio. It has the Power Virtual Agent's name. I think Microsoft will change this in the future, and you can select what action do you want to do. In my case, it's chat with the bot, and you can select what Copilot do you want to use, right? So I had my Copilot here. It was called Expenses Tracker, etc. And I have used that Copilot to send those proactive messages, right? So I have, you can have here the recipient. It's the user that is going to receive that adaptive messages, those proactive messages, and you can add more details here, right? So I have used the simple one with the text, and you can use the complex one with an adaptive card. It works the same way, and it's really easy to use, right? And mainly that's the simple demo that I had for you, but I really want to go back to the PowerPoint and I want to show you something more. So you have to take in mind a few things. When you deliver those proactive messages, you have to you need that Copilot installed in Teams, and the users need to have that Copilot installed in their Microsoft Teams, right? If users uninstall or delete that bot, the proactive messages are not going to be sent. Even the user block that Copilot, the same thing will happen, right? Okay, so one more thing. Okay, all of this has some limitations. It's nothing really really important, but you need to have that in mind. You need to take care about the throttling things in Power Automate and Microsoft Teams, and you need to be sure that the proactive messages Copilot, the Copilot is in the same environment as the Power Automate flow, right? So they both can communicate each other. If not, you are not going to send those proactive messages, right? So I think that's it. That's all that I have for today.
Awesome,
Back
Cristian.
to you,
This is really great stuff. Yeah, awesome stuff. Thank you. You scored the hat trick, right? I think because you included Copilot and lists and teams. I love seeing all the multiple technologies being used together because that's real life, right? Sometimes it feels like things get tunnel visioned when it comes out of Microsoft, but we know that they all work together. So great job. Excellent. Really appreciate you sharing that with us and very cohesive explanations. Okay, let's get to our third presenter. Angeliki is here. She's going to talk about sentence casing in Power Automate versus Power Pages with a little bit of a superhero undertone. Angeliki, want to share it? Take it away.
Hi, everyone. Right, let's start with the basics. Since the beginning of joining this course, it was fun and traumatic at the same time. Can everyone see this in full screen?
Yep, looks good.
Oh, amazing, amazing. So it's great to be back. I am definitely reducing my FOMO just by seeing all of your lovely faces and engaging with you today. But what are we going to talk about today? So sentence casing. This is a bit of an interesting case, pun intended, I suppose, because this is something that we find in a lot of our web apps, no matter what kind of tech we use, whether it's within the Power Platform space or not, because ultimately it's all about data hygiene. And it's been something on my radar recently, and I wanted to find different ways essentially to solve for this in different parts of the Power Platform and bring this to you today. And of course, keeping it as low code as possible with a few more hacks that are a little bit more pro dev. So let's move along. A little bit about me. For those that don't know me, my name is Angeliki Patsiavou. I live in the UK and work for Avanade within the business application space, and particularly between CRM and general Power Platform. As part of my accent, as you can tell, there's a few things going on. I'm Greek-Italian, but I came to the UK about a decade ago. I'm also an MVP in business applications here in the UK. And I also got a bit of a hybrid nature. So I used to be a change manager and hence I'm ProSci certified. But ultimately, I'm a full-blown CRM geek. I've always been in CRM since I started my career. Love it. It's my passion and true fulfilling role to be able to be in functional architecture. And I'm also a community lead. So within Avanade, I lead the global Copilot community of practice, which is a fantastic opportunity. But also within the UK, I also lead one of the user groups with a few other fantastic MVPs, which is Experts Live UK. Either way, you've heard me mention the community multiple times already. That's because I absolutely love it. The passion, the energy, the people is remarkable. And I love being its own human evangelist, which is all about being a tech evangelist that really advocates about the human impact that we have. I speak at a lot of conferences or events, and I love blogging. It's all movie and geek themed. It's called empoweredhumans.net. So I'd love to connect with all of you ultimately. Otherwise, let's kick this off. Okay, so this is the classic slide. We're gonna have to start with why, and it's always a nod to one of my favorite thought leaders, Simon Sinek. So why is sentence casing such a special matter? Why should we care? Well, to begin with, it's all about the human touch. We know that every time we have a text field, a free text field, it's prone to human error. And when it comes to sentence casing, so having the right format for a name, let's say first name, a surname, whatever that may be, maybe it's a city, all of these things, how are we expecting just the human to drive this complete accuracy? We can't assume that we've all transcended our standard human nature. At the same time, the other reason is that we should have expectations from the systems that we create as well as consume. So if our systems are not doing the hard work, they don't have the right validation logic, they don't have the right processes in place, then why should we as end users expect any more? But also, let's kind of flip it on the sides. Why is it important to get it right? So first of all, it's data hygiene. Now, I know I'm biased because I love CRM too much, but putting that aside, every time we build an application, its data is its lifeblood, and it's the lifeblood of the organization behind it, which means that if we don't champion data hygiene, if you don't champion for that golden source of truth and you're not protecting it actively, sentence casing is just one of the many reasons, if you're not actively acting for it, that you're going to have issues. And with that in mind, those issues are not just general kind of like, oh, this looks unprofessional and typos looking and whatnot. In fact, it can have other kinds of impact. For example, impact on downstream systems. I'll give you a very simple example. So think of your CRM. Let's say your model-driven app is connected to a downstream system completely aside from our platform. That is an end user legacy system that is processing those first names, but it needs sentence casing, and otherwise it fails. So imagine you've put all the work into your API, connecting your systems, and suddenly you can't even pass your data because you failed at such a simple point. And then obviously there's all sorts of other kinds of impact in your processes, right? So obviously there's bigger things at play that we need to consider. Cool. So let's think about this use case and the requirements. And I want us to think about it both from the back end and the front end. So in this particular case, we're going to think of our para. In this specific case, it's the usual Event 365 model-driven app. So this is for our backend users, in particular the Avengers. We've heard about this, we love this. And our front-end users are also important because they have their Power Pages portal. And they are going to be the shield agents, that they are also raising their own kind of records when it comes to new battles. Ultimately, those two users interact, they're in the same database. We want to make sure the data between them flows appropriately, and sentence casing, depending on the product and the tech we're working, is sorted. So to summarize, our model-driven app users need to be guided on sentence casing. So we're going to take care of our UX, and we're going to take care of the validation logic that drives this for two particular fields, which is first name and last name. Now, obviously, we're going to guide the users from your UX perspective, but if they don't do this, then the system should apply it, so we enforce it. Ultimately, we want Dataverse to be the golden source of truth. We want to hold sentence case data when it comes to first and last names. We did say we're going to flip it on its side. So let's think about our front-end users, aka our shield agents. So in our Power Pages portal, we're also going to guide our users. And if they don't apply the sentence casing, we're going to direct them with clear error messaging. So in specific, we're not even going to allow them to submit a form that holds that record. And we're going to tell them why they cannot submit. So UX is very, very important throughout. So we are very clear on the point of failure, because there's been so many instances where I'm sure all of us have seen those journeys where there's an error and it's super impossible to understand what's failing, and we're so frustrated that we probably end up abandoning or losing faith in the system. So it's very important to handle your messaging before you get the error as well as after. Cool. So let's put our requirements aside and think about the recipe here. we are going to, let's think of like, pure Dataverse terms and setting this up for a mod-driven app. We're going to add a tooltip, aka a description for our first and last name. This is our first point of call to add some guidance. And should the user ignore the sentence casing, then we're going to have a Power Automate flow, and it's going to enforce it as soon as we save. And this is again because we want Dataverse to be our golden source of truth. In reverse, what we're going to do for Power Pages Porter and our Shield agents is that the basic form they're submitting, we're going to amend its metadata. Specifically, we're going to add an update to have validation logic with a regular expression. So we're going to have regex, and we're going to have error messaging. So when it fails and they're unable to submit in a form, they're not just looking around trying to figure out why that failed. We're going to be very specific, saying you need to do this and what this is, what field and what not. But of course, we don't want them to get to that error. So we're going to add a description right above the field where they're inputting their data to guide them straight away. So remember, UX first, make sure you're adding that seamless experience all the way. Cool. So, and this is the usual pun, I just have to add it, that it's all about let's build simple, configurable, and extendable solutions together, and how I managed the selfie earlier this year with the Avenge training headquarters filming location. I'm sorry, I just have to. It's just too good, and I'm too much of a geek. Anyway, let's move this forward. I think it's much more fun if we go into a demo. So give me a moment and I'll share that screen. So let's confirm quickly that you can see the screen and it's all good.
Yep, looks great.
Fantastic. Okay, so quick run through the Avenge 365 app. This is a custom model-driven app, and we use this as Avengers to be able to primarily prepare and go through battles and prepare for the Avengers that are going to take part against the villains that are threatening us, the protected cities that are marked against them. Of course, there's AI involved, so we have Jarvis, which is our very own assistant. We are monitoring Hydra, monoliths, and humans, all sorts of cool things. And there's a lot of the Marvel Cinematic Universe put into that. So what are we going to do particularly here is look at our Avengers records, which is our version of a contact table, okay? And we're going to see this automation come to life. But first of all, let's see where the problem will be to begin with. So we're talking about the first name and the last name. So let's see the Power Automate flow in the background before we go and see this beauty come to life. So we have this flow. Let me go into the editing screen. This should have loaded already, but here we are. Okay, so it's going to be simple, and we're going to look at two steps. And particularly, we're going to use our magical JSON powers to bring this to life. So we got two steps, keeping it simple as promised. The first step is our usual Dataverse trigger for when a record is added or modified, because we want to make sure that this is all both for new records for an Avenger, but also for modified records. Now, the table is obviously the Avengers table, which is our version of a contact table. Scope about organization, because this is a demo, so keeping it simple. But of course, please always think of your own security model and making sure that you're on the right track there. The next step is to look at the columns that this should be triggered by in terms of the format. So this is the first name and the last name logical names. So we have them there. And the very important ingredient, which is going to give away how we're bringing this to life, is the JSON trigger condition that is then going to turn into our expression. So there's many ways, by the way, to do this. Yeah, you could in theory filter rows. I love working with trigger conditions. I think they're very neat, and it's a great way to experiment further. So I appreciate that you can't see the whole thing here. There's a fair bit of things going on. So instead, I've put it into a nice Word document, and hopefully that's zoomed in enough for everyone. So what do we have here? Let's break it down step by step. So this is a trigger condition that is looking at two different things that could be happening at an OR kind of format. So we are saying, check that this is not happening. This is where the not comes into the equation. Both the first bundle and the second bundle are the same, albeit looking at the first name and last name columns separately. So obviously, if we cover the first one, we get the logic, right? So let's make sure this is that whatever the next bit is not the case. So the first bit that we're doing is retrieving the value of the first name. That's what this first bit is doing. Then what we're going to do is compare that value, that string, to a concatenated version of what a sentence-cased first name value of that kind should look like. So this is where the concat part comes to life. And then we are using the two upper part and the two lower part, which, as you probably guessed, is uppercasing the first letter. That's why we're seeing this part here. And similarly, the function will then go and say, okay, you looked at the first letter, you've uppercased it, happy days. Let's take the rest of the letters and lowercase them. So what we are doing here is saying, check that the value that the first name has that we have retrieved is not sentence case, because we don't want to trigger the flow unnecessarily, right? But there's a chance that the last name is also messed up. So what we're saying is either or could happen, could be both, could be one. But either at least one needs to be the case for this flow to trigger. So once we do that, we will get an update row step to tell us, and of course, let's always put some lovely names to name our steps to know and to let the rest of our makers and admins happy. So what we'll say is that, okay, our table name is Avengers, great. So we'll take the contact records and then we'll apply the expression, which is exactly what you saw earlier from the concat part onwards. This is our sentence casing magic. So we have our expression written down here. And the only thing we're doing is alternating the logical name between first and last name. So once this has been set up, let's see it come to life. So let's make a mistake here. Let's write Bruce Banner, poor Hulk. We're going to add a few problems in his first and last name. And let's save the record. Now, let's refresh. And sometimes it doesn't trigger straight away. That's fine. Let's save and close, and we'll see it there as well. It takes a moment sometimes. You know, you have to pray really hard to those demo gods. So there we go. It's sentence case. Sometimes it takes a few seconds. Of course, my tenant is in the US and everyone is using it this time. So there we go. We have sentence case. Of course, this could be triggered if just the first name of the last name was also messed up. Now, this looks great, but what about our PAR pages? What if our portal and Shield agents are also struggling? So this is where we have a basic form that we're asking the Shield agents to submit for new battles. And we want to make sure that we're handling our UX. So as promised, we're going to add a description here just above the battle title to tell them that you please have to do that in a sentence-cased format. The way to sort that out is if you go to Power Pages Management and you open up your basic form and you go to basic form metadata, the way to add the description is if you set it up, type equal attribute, then of course choose the logical name. If you scroll down, there is a description area. There we go, description instructions. So add description, yes, it will by default now. Position, you can choose a few things. I prefer it above the field. Now, use attributes description property. That's what you have in Dataverse. I didn't want to use that because I want to give a different experience to our portal users. So I said no and added my own. So this is what we are seeing, as you can see back here. Now, this is cool, but ultimately we want the validation error, and this is where we're going to use regex. So this is a very simple formula here that says take the first letter, uppercase it, make sure that it's uppercased, and then as in don't accept it until it's uppercase, and then the rest one needs to be lowercase. However, we don't want the system to have an error without the users understanding what the issue is, and this is where we add our error message. It's very specific, so we're telling them what they need to do, which is use sentence casing, what the field is, and the fact that they won't be able to submit the form without. So let's say that in practice. Let's say the name of the battle is called Orbis, but obviously I haven't sentence case. That's pretty terrible. So I can't submit. I have a very clear understanding of what I've done wrong. So now that I'm going to allow myself to do this right, I'll submit and it will go through. Beautiful. So ultimately, you have different ways to do this. Depending on where you are, MDA versus Power Pages, you have different approaches as well. But ultimately, please look after your UX. Make sure that your users don't have to get to that area. You're guiding them with the right messaging. Let the system do the hard work so your data is clean and sorted. I appreciate that we're out of time, so I'll very quickly switch back to the slides just to share some links for you to have. Because I have a blog with step-by-step instructions of how to do all of this. So we have 3 links here. We got a link to my Linktree account, which is all my socials. I'd love to connect with all of you. It's so great to be with the community and having all those conversations. I have a blog post of how to set up the Power Automate flow. And I have a blog post for the regular expression that you can do with Power Pages and all the ways to set up logic for your metadata. So they should be in the chat. I can add them otherwise. Please do share your thoughts as well. Would love to hear from you. Otherwise, thank you so much. Back to you, David.
Awesome job, Angeliki. Thank you so much. I was thinking as you were sharing all this knowledge, you've really given everyone the ability to capitalize on that knowledge. See what I did there? Capitalize. Casing. Yeah, sorry.
Not a joke if you have to explain it.
I know. But Todd's not here to save the day, so I felt like I had to add something. All right. Thank you all. Excellent job. Mary, thank you for your presentation. Cristian and Angeliki, great job today. Excellent job. Woo! Yeah! I gotta add the sound effects, even though I don't have the Stream Deck with me. All right, let's talk about some resources that are available to each and every one of you. We've got our Power Platform community front door. We've got video samples, our community, which has the ability to interact with other members of the community, ask questions for Power Apps and Pages and automate, all absolutely free. Check those out if you can and would like to. If you like this call, and of course you do because you're here, and we thank you. We love you too. We've got other calls, Microsoft 365 Power Platform weekly call. This is a weekly with Microsoft speakers, so please don't hesitate to get that on your calendar. Of course, this is the monthly Power Platform. We've got our Office add-ins and our bi-weekly sibling calls, Microsoft 365 Power Platform Dev and Viva Connections SharePoint Framework. Those are bi-weekly on Thursdays. Viva Connections and SharePoint Framework will be tomorrow. You can get access to all the invites for these at ak.ms/community/calls. And just as a preview, next Tuesday for those Microsoft calls, Anshul will be here, Million will be here. They'll be talking about building Teams AI super parent bots. We've got WhatsApp bot on Azure, so that's cool. And we've got serverless AI chat with retrieval coming up. So check that out. That is coming up on Tuesday. Again, this is coming directly from those program managers and product managers. Now, if you would like to get more involved with the community and you want to impress your kids, I don't know, Shane, are you on Discord?
I'm not smart enough for Discord either, apparently.
I tell you, I actually do love it. I'm on Discord. I use it quite a bit. I use it for a lot of things, Midjourney, a number of other things. But we have a community server on Discord. It's absolutely free. We've got over 2,200 members of the community in there. Wow. Everyone's kind of helping out. It's a great, wonderful sort of one-stop shop to help out and collaborate in a number of different areas. So check it out if you'd like. And of course, we'd love to get some feedback from you on how these calls are going. You like them, you don't like them, you want to see them improved. If you still like what you see and you've already let us know again. It's okay. We'd love to let management know that these are good and valuable. Allows VESA to provide resources to us to ensure that these are getting handled and improved upon. Just before we turn it over to Shane for any final notes, just remember the recording will be available in 24 hours or less on the Community Learning YouTube channel. It may tell you in the Teams chat that it is available for download, but Teams is a pretty little liar. Unless you're in that tenant, you won't be able to access it, but you will be able to get access to it immediately as soon as it drops. And it's processed on YouTube. You can always follow us on Twitter at M365PNP and go to that LinkedIn update for the latest. Our next call will be in a month, October 16th. You can get access to that at ak.ms/Power Platform Community Call. Shane, What do you say? Good call? Good week?
That was amazing, right? I loved it. Loved everything about it. Great job to all three of our presenters. Angelique's always got the Avengers keeping us going there, and lots of fun there. Right, the Copilot stuff with Cristian. I signed up for his LinkedIn newsletter, so high expectations, Cristian. I want good stuff there. And Mary, I haven't seen you in a while, so hugs and kisses. But everyone's great. Like, also just a reminder, like David said earlier, all of you can present. We want to see as many of you out here presenting as we can. So please sign up. Come share some awesome stuff with us.
100%. Absolutely. Thanks, Shane, for joining me on this journey. Everybody, look out for those notes and tweets about coming out. The keynote, I think, just started 4 minutes ago. So be on the lookout. I'm sure Shane will be tweeting out as well. Have a great week, everybody, and a wonderful weekend. Thank you. We love you for everything you're doing. Bye-bye.
Bye.